Welcome to Hood Champion Boxing and Sports. In boxing, you find a way to win or you find a way to lose. Uh-oh. Hold your horses, Crawford. Think you may have taken it to the stupid. Pissed off Canelo. That's not good. When Canelo gets upset inside of the ring, he picks up the pace. But when you've upset him at the press conferences, and I'm just going to tell you right now, I think a loss for Canelo is unexpected because Canelo is like Crawford already out here trying to play Matador and I'm the bull. Y'all know what happened when they keep messing with them bulls. Y'all ever see them videos, man? Where the Matadors or them crazy ass people out in the streets keep messing with the bull, running from the bull, poking at the bull, and just harassing the bull. When the bull finally get a hold of their ass, what do? Tear their ass off the frame. And that's exactly what's happening here, man. I'm just telling you. I think the boxing world is going to get a seismic jolt when Canelo and Crawford finally face off against each other. This is going to be one of those fights where I just think, the fans are, right now, they're reacting in different ways to the fight being announced and who's going to win. But if you watch Canelo's reaction to Terence Crawford, it went from being kind of amicable, kind of friendly, kind of, respectful to Canelo kind of zoning in now and saying, oh, yeah, okay. Maybe before, if I hit you and I hurt you, because I don't want to kill you like Amir Khan, maybe I hit you and hurt you and tell the referee stop the fight. Now, Canelo ain't trying to hit that. He's looking to put Crawford in the dirt. And you got to understand why Canelo feels that way, because you have to understand his status in the sport of boxing. One fighter here has everything to gain, and one fighter here has everything to lose. And the one who has everything to lose is Canelo. And he really feels like he's not getting the respect he deserves. He feels like Crawford is kind of poking. I had a video I did where Crawford's poking the bear. But he's really, man, grabbing the bull by the horns and twisting the bull and messing with the bull. And the bull's just trying to chill. The bull's like, man, ain't time for war yet, but now you done pissed off the bull. And he's coming at him, man. Let me just tell you something. I just think there's a new type of leverage that Canelo has gained as a result of, in his mind, feeling that Crawford is overlooking him. When he's listening to the media, when he's listening to ex-professional fighters who are considered experts on the sport, where he's like, yo, these guys are overlooking me. How can these guys say Crawford's going to beat me? For years, there's been said that a good big man beats a good small man. How come now this is going to be an isolated situation where they're saying a good small man is going to beat me, a great big man? And all that's done is just piss them off. Because Canelo had a tough time struggling with the fact that he wouldn't fight people are saying he's scared of David Benavidez. So he, to this day, like that, you could tell that bothers him. But even I don't know why he won't fight him. But he fought Dimitri Bivol, so he figured, hey, Bivol's more of a threat than Benavidez. So why, if I wasn't afraid to fight Bivol, why would I be afraid to fight Benavidez? But you could tell that he kind of can accept that loss to Bivol because he dared to be great. He went up to 175, fought a monster, but he lost. So now with Terence Crawford, he's like, I lost to Mayweather. I get it. Mayweather is probably one of the best fighters, probably the best fighter ever to put on a pair of gloves. Everyone has an opinion on that. But he's like, this is still Canelo's era. I'm not losing to Terence Crawford. And I just think when you see Canelo, feels like the fans feel, right, because I don't know if Canelo feels this way, the fans really feel that Crawford is a threat to Canelo's throne. I just think for Canelo, he's sitting here saying, you know what? You guys think that my invincibility has faded. No fighter has done anything in the ring to take away my aura of invincibility. I control that. And I'm going to make sure when I get in this room with Terence Crawford, for those of you who felt my aura of invincibility has faded, y'all going to put some respect on my name. And unfortunately, Terence Crawford, it's got to be you. I'm telling you. What this has done for Canelo Alvarez, and I really believe it, is giving him somewhat of a mental reset. You know what I'm saying? I think some fighters may have been intimidated by Canelo. I think Canelo, knowing that, went into fights thinking this is going to be easy. I think Canelo looked at the paydays and everything and figured I just have to do, out of the 10 things I have in my repertoire, I can pull out 2. And I just do these 2 things over the course of the fight. And I get the win, my legacy remains intact, and I get the big money. But what I will tell you is, I think as a result of Canelo fighting that way, by choice, there's been, there's created a kind of confidence in Terence Crawford, where Crawford feels like, you know, Canelo didn't lose in any fights recently. He's been winning. But basically those wins for Canelo have been really been losses because he's looked horrible. He's looked vulnerable. And as a result, Crawford and other fighters, especially Crawford, he has all this confidence. Crawford went from saying, man, look, this weight class is for a reason, to now saying, I'm going to walk down Canelo. People, how we get from point A to point B? Weight classes for a reason, they're too big, to all of a sudden now, I'm going to walk down and knock out Canelo. What happened in between? And Canelo is looking at that saying, I know what happened in between. It's my performances that gave him confidence. And that shit has done nothing but motivate Canelo, man. Canelo doesn't feel he's beatable, but Crawford and other people feel he's beatable. But they're going to have to prove it. And when you look at Canelo and where he's at, this whole thing about, somebody would say that his drawing power, the numbers have gone down and Canelo's not the same fighter. Let me tell you something, man. You can say what you want, but if you fight Canelo, you're going to make the most money you've ever made in your boxing career. But Canelo also understands, and this is extra motivation, he needs to remain a draw in boxing. He understands what happens if he takes a loss to Terence Crawford. Everything that he's worked for all these years, it comes crashing down. Yeah, there could be a rematch, and Crawford will get paid more money. But the bottom line is Canelo can't end up, he can't allow Crawford to be the Usyk to Tyson Fury. He can't allow Crawford to be the Tyson Fury to Deontay Wilder. He can't allow Crawford to be the Usyk to Anthony Joshua. That's exactly what could happen here. Canelo cannot let that happen. He can't let Crawford be the Mayorga to Vernon Forrest. He's going to have to sit here, man, and prove to Crawford in the world that Crawford doesn't belong in the ring with me. And not beat him and go to a decision. Decapitate him, destabilize him, tranquilize him, destroy him, kill him. Put him in the dirt. Crawford can't let Crawford come in there and take away his star power. He can't do that. So there's a lot of additional motivation for Canelo. As far as Crawford and his motivation, I mean, you know, financial. I mean, a undivision, a third weight class. But no matter what, Canelo loses more. If Canelo loses to Crawford, he loses a lot more than Crawford loses. And Crawford gains a whole lot in beating Canelo, opposed to what Canelo gains. So when you ask me, man, who should be the most motivated between the two? Well, they both should be. But I think Canelo, and that's why I think you're seeing a motivation surge for a guy like Canelo, man, because they know Crawford is coming in there to try to upset the apple cart, and that's why Canelo's putting together a smart game plan that incorporates extreme IQ with brute force. That means that he's going to look to knock Crawford out. Look, if he catches up to Crawford, it's not going to be nice. He's going to hurt him. He's not going to hit him once, and if Crawford is out on his feet, just let the referee catch him. No, he's going to finish him off. Stick a fork in him, which is what he should do. He needs to let everyone know, okay, for any of y'all out there who got this, momentum of confidence, thinking that I'm beatable, you're going to come up here and kick my ass. I'm from Guadalajara, Jalisco. Viva Mexico, cabrones. Get out of here with that bullshit. So now for those who are thinking about coming up here scrapping with King Canelo, you ain't thinking that shit no more, are you? Because he going to put that Guadalajara, Jalisco bing-bings on your ass. And what I'm telling you is just a fact, man. Crawford really, he and his team, look, Crawford can get him. I think Crawford can get him. But I just know Canelo should be the favorite. And I'm going to keep saying that. But I think Crawford can get him. I'm not saying he will. I'm just saying he can. But I'm just looking at Canelo, man. I think Canelo, the same way Canelo's performances have inspired others to study Canelo's weaknesses, like Crawford and his team been studying Canelo. I think that may have prompted Canelo and his team to study his weaknesses too, to say, shit, if I was fighting me, when I look at whatever patterns I have in fights, what's something that I would target? And that may allow them to rectify those things. So now he gets in the ring where Crawford and them are thinking, okay, this is a pattern, this is what he does. They flip the script. They give him a totally different look than what they were anticipating. And that could create a problem. El problemo. For Crawford and his team, man. All those strategies they're trying to build around Canelo's weaknesses, that shit will go up in flames. Look, Eddie already knows, so y'all already know I feel he got a drug cartel running over there, but the man ain't stupid. He knows boxing. Canelo knows boxing. They know there's some things they're going to have to work on. Maybe Crawford's team has said too much about how they've been looking at Canelo for the last few years. They know when he's tired. They know what punches he likes to throw. They know his habits, everything. Maybe they said too much. They shouldn't have said anything. Maybe by them speaking, it prompted Canelo and his team to go back and take a look themselves and say, oh, this is what they may have picked up on. This is what they may have picked up on. And now they come in there and those things that maybe they would have done if Crawford's team wouldn't have mentioned, they've been, watching him like a hawk. Maybe they wouldn't have corrected him, but now I think they're going to correct him. But anyway, I just think people need to understand this thing about, Mayweather beat Canelo, Crawford's going to beat him. Understand this. After losing to Mayweather, man, Canelo admitted he wasn't ready mentally, emotionally, spiritually, for the fame and everything else that he's managed to garner. Canelo is very comfortable in his status and his throne as a king of boxing. You know what I'm saying? So he's no longer. This isn't the first big bright light event for him. Canelo thrives in this shit. This would be Crawford's second, maybe third. Really big event. The Riyadh season card was big. Earl Spence was huge, but outside of those two, ain't nothing remotely close to this shit he about to walk into it with Canelo in Las Vegas. The Earl Spence one was big. The Marjamov kind of, but it's really his maybe second, third huge event like this. But the bottom line, we just got to see, what happens. I just think Canelo, I think he's already thought about what I have to do to make sure I don't lose. You got the bull in the matador. Can't let the matador kill me. I got to put him in the dirt. And I just think, for a guy like Crawford, I don't know if he's really aware of this. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. It's just, maybe he's just looking at more about what he's doing and he just sees this as I'm going up for legacy. What Canelo's looking at, I got a small guy, I got money on the line, reputation on the line, endorsement deals on the line. I got everything going on here. Title defense, everything. Canelo got more shit on his brain. So that could be even more motivation for him going into this fight against a guy like Crawford. But I do think Crawford needs to understand there's different levels of greatness. And Crawford's trying to achieve kind of what Canelo's done. We could easily sit here and poke holes in Canelo's resume and try to poke holes in Crawford, but we're not going to do that. we're going to acknowledge that they're both great, and both of these guys are trying to make history in this fight. Not just by winning, especially for Canelo. He doesn't just want to win. He wants to do something that would be seismic, and that would be, like I said, putting Crawford's ass in the dirt. Crawford just getting a decision over Canelo would be seismic. See, Crawford can afford to just get a decision. Canelo can't. He's got to put him down, and to where he doesn't get up. So I think that's motivation for him to go for the KO. So we're going to see how this works out, because it's my understanding that it's still an 18 by 18 ring. And I just think when you think about the 18 by 18 ring, KO bonus that's being added to the fight, and Eddie Reynoso coming out saying, look, understand this, we're going to knock him out. We're going for the knockout. We're going to let him know that he doesn't belong in here with us. And I'm telling you that the more I think about this, the more I'm saying, boy, oh boy, Canelo wants action, which is something the fans want from him, something the fans have been demanding, especially his fans. And it sounds like they're going to give us that. And we're going to see if Crawford does that too, because you know what? Fans want to see a mashup, crash up with a signature finish from one of them, either one of them. But you'd have to think if somebody delivered a signature finish, it'd be Canelo delivering that, to Terence Crawford. But Canelo and Crawford both see themselves as winners. They're always winning. And I think as a result, if you ask me who has a psychological edge going into the fight, look, it's Mexican Independence Day. It's a long weekend. Canelo doesn't lose during those weekends. The crowd is going to be crazy for Canelo. I mean, the ultimate dominance as far as crowd support. And when you just look at that, man, Canelo's been there, done that, and a number of times. Crawford hasn't. And Canelo knows how it feels to lose during that weekend. You know what I'm saying? Like when he lost against Mayweather. Ain't no way in the world he going to lose. He going to be okay with losing against Crawford. Now, I'm not saying Crawford he's not going to have something to say about that. I'm just saying, I just think, for Canelo, the idea of losing, I just think that motivates him to be even more locked in training camp. And I think for the fight, he's going to fight with urgency, but at the same time with intelligence and not a whole lot of caution. You see, it's one thing to come in and fight with caution. That's Devin Haney, safety first. Canelo's going to fight with urgency, but with intelligence. So there is going to be a bit of caution there, but not reluctance to engage. No, he's going to come. Urgency and IQ and intelligence. So everything's going to be smart, going to be intelligent, calculated. But he's going to be coming and pursuing Crawford with pressure, doing things that cause Crawford to somehow systemically break down inside the ring, to where it gives Canelo even more opportunities to propose violent exchanges, something that Crawford may have to do, and then soon thereafter realize, I can't do that shit anymore, especially if he survives those violent exchanges. Anyway, y'all keep cool. Shout out to the veterans, 7 continents. I just think more respect need to be put on Canelo's name. Now, I think Crawford can win. I'll come here in 10 minutes do a video about Crawford beating Canelo. But I just think when I look at it, I just like, boy, man, anybody out here talking about Canelo ain't locked in to fight, that's bullshit, man. This man can't afford to have Crawford, and I'll go ahead and say this because we're adults, you know what I mean? I'm not a race baiting channel. I don't even care, but have a black fighter whip his ass on Independence Day out there in Vegas where 80% of the crowd going to be Hispanic supporters, Canelo supporters, probably Hispanic. He can't have that, you know what I'm saying? That ain't going to go over well. Because one thing I'll tell you, man, when I'm out here talking boxing with some of my partners and shit, Hispanic cats, they'll say, hey, we think Crawford may beat Canelo, but we're going for Canelo. I sit there laughing. I'm like, you supporting him no matter what. Yeah, we think Crawford's going to beat him, but we're picking Canelo. That shit has me cracking up. Anyway, y'all keep cool. Shout out to the veterans, all 7 continents. Matador versus the Bull. Is the Bull going to get a horn in the Matador's ass and put him in the dirt? Or is the Matador going to sidestep and keep, man, stabbing that Bull up till eventually the Bull can't take no more and he collapses on the canvas? We're going to find out, right? Y'all keep cool. I'm in the breeze.